Invariably very similar to the Federal Reserve Act, that the people couldn't believe they got away with this. They committed a heist and they couldn't believe it. I mean, these folks went on to brag in the 1920s what they finally gotten accomplished. And the same thing is happening now. So I am going to start this with Nancy Pelosi. She was interviewed by the New Yorker radio and got to a point of the interview where she had to begin to explain her role in Mr. Robinette stepping aside from the re-election campaign, what raises the specter. Okay, you can't run for re-election, but you still have the nuclear football? Somebody make that make sense for me. And again, this goes back to discernment. And I'm going to set this conversation up with something I've said before. And this is something that people try to get away from. In order for the prevailing narrative concerning the 2020 election to stand, you would be required to acknowledge and to admit as a fact that Mr. Joseph Robinette Biden was, in the 2020 election, the most popular electoral presidential candidate in American history, according to the vote tally. I'm going to say that again. For the prevailing narrative to be true, Mr. Biden had to be the most popular electoral presidential candidate in American history, according to the vote tally. 81 million votes. The second highest vote tally in American presidential political history is Mr. Trump in 2020. Now just simmer with that. Do you truly believe Mr. Biden was more popular than Ronald Reagan in his 2 terms? More popular than Barack Obama in his 2 terms? You see what I'm saying? All right. Now, getting to this. Nancy Pelosi is saying the quiet part out loud, and I don't even really think she realizes what she's saying. But remember, we've been talking about discernment. Listen to Nancy Pelosi as she discusses Mr. Biden's withdrawal from the re-election campaign. Clip number 7. Go.
I love him so much. I think he's been really a fantastic president of the United States. So I really wanted him to make a decision of a better campaign, because they were not facing the fact of what was happening. Just a little background. I've never been that impressed with his political operation.
Biden's operation.
Yeah, I'm not. I mean, I just haven't been. They won the White House. Bravo. Right?
Mm-hmm.
But so my concern was, this ain't happening, and we have to make a decision for this to happen, and the president has to make the decision for that to happen. Let me just say, I won't say necessarily I knew what I was doing at that time. I knew what I was doing in the whole thing, not just that shit.
And what was that?
That Donald Trump would never set foot in the White House again. And the president has to make the decision for that to happen. Let me just say, I won't say necessarily I knew what I was doing at that time. I knew what I was doing in the whole thing, not just that shit.
And what was that?
That Donald Trump would never set foot in the White House again.
Now, when people tell you who they are, y'all know how to finish that sentence. Believe them. Nancy Pelosi is in her 80s. She is a politico of politicos who understands all the realities of electoral politics. Right. She's focusing on one thing, not realizing she's opening the back door. With her experience in politics, having the man who she says, oh, I just love him so much, he was a great president. Remember before she said he should be on Mount Rushmore. Maybe not replacing Abraham Lincoln, but at least Teddy P, what they call him, no. She can at least be next to Teddy P. Teddy R, actually, but knowing what she knows about politics, knowing what I said before I played her clip, that the prevailing narrative is that Mr. Biden got the most votes in presidential electoral political history in America. being the politico that she is, she says, I've never been impressed with his political operation. Say what? Say that again for me. What'd you say, Fancy Nancy?
I won't say necessarily I knew what I was doing at that time. I knew what I was doing. I've never been that impressed with his political operation.
Right there. I have never been that impressed with his political operation. I have never been that impressed with his political operation. You, ma'am, a lifelong politician, have never been impressed with the ability for a man to get the most votes in U.S. presidential election history? Why haven't you been impressed, Nancy? Could it be the 81 is not Kobe Bryant's 81 against the Toronto Raptors? Could it be that the 81 ain't the 81? Can you imagine a Republican president who got the most votes in electoral political history? And the Republicans say, you know what? You ain't never really been that good of a politician. What? Okay, you won the White House. Bravo. What? What? That's not a big deal to you? Or are you saying that because you know that what happened in 2020 may not have been what they saying it is? Because if you have a person who's been the most popular candidate in presidential history, it wouldn't be that easy to just be like, you done good. You know, it's like, in baseball, you have a pitcher. You don't call in a relief pitcher when Nolan Ryan is still throwing 100-mile-per-hour fastballs and striking folks out. Is what I'm saying. You get what I'm saying? She said that in front of everybody. And then you pair that with this wonderful blessing from CBS, who said, we want to talk to Mr. Biden himself. And then allow your discernment to kick in. Clip number 4. Y'all ready? Go.
Look, the polls we had showed that it was a neck-and-neck race. Would have been down to the wire. But what happened was a number of my Democratic colleagues in the House and Senate thought that I was going to hurt them in the races. And I was concerned if I stayed in the race, that would be the topic. You'd be interviewing me about why did Nancy Pelosi say, why did so, and I thought it'd be a real distraction.
And guys, this is remarkable. You have the current occupant of the Oval Office literally confirming the fact that it was a coup. He got tossed straight out. So he's explaining from his perspective. Hey, it's a tight race. It's going to go down to the wire, but I thought I was doing all right. Then I had leaders in the Democrat Party from the House and the Senate. The House, could it be Nancy Pelosi? And the Senate, Chuck Schumer, who all gathered at Barack Obama's behest. And he says that they came to him saying that, well, even though you're the most popular president in American presidential electoral history, we're concerned that you might be a downer on the down ballot races. So you can either leave willingly or we're going to force you out. Because you notice the next thing he said. If I didn't step down, I would be talking to you here and you would be interviewing me about what Nancy Pelosi said. What is he showing? He's showing they threatening him, folks. And don't forget, the all of a sudden shock face deluge of all kind of articles now, all of a sudden post June 27th, now all of a sudden, oh my gosh, I don't believe Mr. Biden can get us across the finish line after just a week before. Telling us all these videos that are showing Mr. Biden don't know up from down. He doesn't know when to stop, when to go. These are cheap fakes and deep fakes. These people told us that Mr. Biden is the best that he ever was. The best he'd ever been, best he ever was. That's after they told us he's the most popular president in American electoral political history. 81 million. 81 million. Don't let people forget 81 million. 81 million. 81 million. He is literally confirming, I really didn't want to go, but they forced me out. Because if I didn't agree to go out, then I was going to have to deal with all of these people who are supposed to be my allies telling the media why I can't do it. And it's amazing. our media seems disinterested in these stories. You wonder why that is. Could it be that they are complicit in creating these stories?